All right, so let's get back to this financial options to purchase. So, I mean, when it comes to financing a property, you can go straight into traditional financing, which is approaching a bank and putting 25% down, well, 15 to 25% down. If you live in the property, so if it's owner occupied, then you might only have to put 3.5% down, 3.5 to 5% down. If you're a first time home buyer and you can get an FHA loan, then you might have to put $0 down. If you are working with a hard money lender, you might only have to put 90% or 10% down. And then if you work with a private money person, so if you find a friend, if you find a family member that has some income or just some money sitting around that they want to invest and get a return on, then it is whatever you two agree on. So you could put 0% down with private money if that person is a fan of you and if you sell them on this process. The other thing that you could do is partner with somebody. And when you partner with somebody, you can split equity, you can split the cash flow from, or like the net, any way you want to. So private money and partnerships are kind of like the Wild West. Anything that you two agree on, you can put on paper and sign into existence. So partnerships and private money are the most malleable forms of financing that you can come across. If you are working with a traditional lender, owner occupying it, working with a hard money lender, they generally have their systems, their procedures in place, and there's very little you can do or say to sway any of those requirements. So if you are starting with little to no money, then hard money is going to be tough because hard money lenders are going to want to see some experience and they're going to want to see reserves. They're going to want to see your exit strategy, and they're going to really push you probably just as much as like a traditional lender would. If you're going to own or occupy a property, then that would probably be pretty solid because you'd only have to put 3.5 to 5% down. And then on the owner occupied side, if you can do something like house hacking where you rent out one of the rooms in the property, multiple of the rooms, or if it's a duplex 3-unit or 4-unit property, then you can rent out the other units and still qualify for that owner occupied loan. Again, private money and partnerships are whatever you could possibly agree to. Now, if you are wanting to partner with somebody just because you need additional funds because you don't have the experience, I would do so with a clear exit strategy in mind. When we were starting out, we formed a couple of different partnerships, and they were solely based on our lack of capital. So they were 50-50 partnerships where we brought 50% of the capital, the other person brought 50% of the capital, and we own 50% of the property, and they own 50% of the property. You know, nobody knew the future. Nobody knew that we were going to be able to acquire so many units so quickly. And I'm not bitter. I'm not mad about any of it. I wouldn't have it any other way now, but we do all of the work on the management side, and we have some really awesome partners that are getting 50% of the equity and 50% of the income of the properties. And they do so close to 0% of any of the work. Now, if they were to come forth and say that they wanted to do more of the work, well, we already have so many of these systems in place that it would not be helpful for them to do it. So it's kind of just this thing that has grown. There's a situation where it doesn't really benefit us. It benefits them greatly. And it's a great deal for them. If we could go back and not do those deals, then we likely would. We have formed one additional partnership in addition to that was more recent, and they put up 100% of the capital. We put up $0, and we get 50% of the equity. They get 50% of the equity. I would be more tempted to bring on additional partnerships like that rather than like the capital related ones. So if I could go back and talk to myself that formed those 50% capital, 50% equity, 50% cash flow partnerships, what I would do is draw out some very clear buyout strategies on the front end, just in case it gets to this point where your business takes off. You know, they don't really do much in real estate investing outside. They kind of lost steam. Just like a clear way that you could reassess at a particular time period to either buy one out or just redraw up the operating agreement or restructure the assets or that we could leave in any sort of manner. But like right now, we're at a standstill because it's a sweet deal for them. So they don't want to buy us out, and they don't want to be bought out. There's really no exit strategy here for us. So that is something that I'd be very mindful of as I'm giving advice on how to get money when you don't have any and want to take down deals. So the private money, where you can negotiate whatever terms that you agree on, I would be very, very inclined to do that. I would be very hesitant for the partnership, and I would also be for the owner-occupied loans on like a 1 to 4 family property. If I were speaking or talking to a Ryan Ingram that had $10,000 or less in cash, wanted to get started in real estate investing, the advice that I would give is do an owner-occupied loan. So go buy a property that I could live in and rent out several of the other rooms. So I would do house hacking. And I would house hack with the understanding that inside or right after 1 year passes, I would be looking for another property to do the exact same thing in. So if you're going to house hack and get an owner-occupied loan, know that you can get one every year or as little as 6 months. Every bank is different. And when you do that, you would be able to add another unit to your portfolio. When you house hack, you could, when you move out, you can either rent the room that you were occupying or the unit that you were occupying, and now you have a full-blown investment property. And then you could do the same thing again, and you could build a portfolio that way by moving every year for a couple of years. You're going to get tired of it eventually, and your equity, your cash flow is going to catch up to you. Your bankability is going to catch up to you. And on right around the third or fourth time that you do this, you're going to be able to qualify and take advantage of additional funding opportunities. Now, all the while you're house hacking, I would say do not forget to always look for opportunities to increase your income, limit your expenses, and seize any opportunity that comes along, especially on the real estate side. So $10,000 or less, option 1, house hack with an owner-occupied loan. That way you only have to put 3.5% to 5% down. Option 2 would be looking for private money, and that's going to take some work on your part. You're going to want to educate yourself on how people can roll over their retirement accounts into self-directed IRAs. That's going to require that you build up the courage and comfort in going out and selling yourself to additional people. That's going to make you ask some uncomfortable questions of friends and family. It's going to require that you kind of make a vision for yourself, show that you have done all of the research, that you've educated yourself, that you have all the right information to go out and execute this plan. The only part that you're missing is the money. However, you're also taking proactive steps in increasing your income, lowering your expenses, so you are never in this capital predicament again. So that's option 2, is that private money. Then option 3 would be the partnerships. But again, you would want to make sure that you limit yourself, your exposure in those, and make sure that you have a clear exit strategy whenever you've outgrown the need for that partnership. Thanks for watching that clip. I thought that was a good question, and I think you can ask good questions too. Join us every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a live stream Q&A where we answer plenty of questions just like this one. In the meantime, consider subscribing to the channel if you want more of this content. And if you want to increase your deal flow, analyze properties better, and help me feed my family, click the link below for a free 7-day trial of PropStream.